Welcome to another episode of Preparing for the Unexpected. I'm your host, Alex Fullick, and as always, we like to talk about things related to disasters, crises, chaos, COVID 19, anything that helps prepare and protect you during disastrous situations, whether it be on an individual level, a corporate level, or a community level. Now, some of you may know I also have a talk radio show or podcast, whatever you want to call it, on the Voice America Talk Radio Network. So voiceamerica.com. And that show is called Preparing for the Unexpected as well, originally. And I've had that for 3.5 years. And I've talked to all kinds of people, researchers, academics, authors, people in disaster industry, vets, disaster psychologists. I've talked to all kinds of people. So one of the interesting shows recently that I've done, and they're all interesting, but the one that I thought I should talk about today actually had to do with preparedness with a guest named Diane Vukovic. She had a book, Disaster Preparedness for Women, which is why I reached out to her because we talked about a couple of different things. And without having her here or a female guest beside me, I'm not going to go into some of the items that she brought forward because I don't think I'm the one who should be passing on some of that message. But I'd rather love to have someone here to talk about some of these things. But as a guy, a white guy, as you can see, I don't think it would be right for me to bring up some of these points. But I will talk about one of the things that she brought up in her show, and that was about disaster kits or preparedness kits that we have at home. Go bags, as they're called. Now, I'm not talking, the zombie apocalypse, where it's The Walking Dead or, all kinds of other bizarre things, people walking around with shotguns or arrows and swords, and all that kind of stuff. No, I'm talking the power goes out, it's out for a couple of days, or you've had a hurricane, what do you need at home to prepare yourself? I'm looking at things on that level. And I actually practice what I preach. So everything I say today in this show, I actually have here at home ready in case something goes on. So one of the first things, I actually brought one of the bags. I don't have a lot of space here, but I have some space, and I brought one of my preparedness bags. It's actually called Home Emergency Kit. And I'll just kind of go through some of the things that are in here. And I have some other bags, containers actually, that are all prepped and ready to go, all labeled, if something happens. And I'm stuck here at home, I know exactly where certain things are if I need them. Of course, one of the biggest things that we need in our home safety kits is everybody's favorite toilet paper. I've got lots of that. It's wrapped up just like this, and it's in containers as well. So I've got enough to last me for a week or two. Being the only person, if I'm the only person, then it's going to last me a couple of weeks. So hopefully it does, and hopefully I never need it. I've got gloves just in case, because you don't know what's happening. And I've even updated it recently and put masks, some masks in here. And because of weather, you don't know what could happen. I've got a little poncho here, a rain poncho, in case I'm stuck in the rain. I also have, and it's at the bottom of the bag, but these foil blankets that you can wrap around yourself. It looks like folded up tin foil, but it's to help keep you warm. And I've got a couple of those as well. I've got first aid kit. Oh, and I even have a first aid kit for my dog, just in case, because you never know. In my other kits, the other container, there are can openers, there's matches, there's flint, there's water sanitizer. So, you can drink water from a stream if you have to, or if the water you have, you're not sure of, it'll make it so that it's drinkable. I've got some of that, some pills that do that kind of thing as well. So I've got all those kind of things. Rope, obviously, first aid kit, I mentioned, I do have some allergy medicine, and some aspirin type stuff just in case it's needed. And I do rotate that in, sometime in and out. Sometimes they last for 2 years or so. And I actually check the containers every year just to make sure everything's okay and nothing needs replacing. And if the aspirin is coming due in the next 6 months or a year, I swap it out for a new one and use the one that's in there. So I never have something that expires. I also have, believe it or not, and this I do want to show you, provided I can pull it out, because this thing is packed in pretty tightly here. But, oh well, maybe I can't get it out. It's at the bottom. Oh, there we go. I reached it. Food. Obviously, salads and chickens and things like that aren't going to last. So these are protein cubes. The kind of stuff that Army uses, out in the field. At least that's the way this was advertised. So don't quote me that that's the exact same one. So I look at all that, I have that kind of food. I even have feminine hygiene products because I don't know if someone's going to be here. So I make sure that I've got some of that. Yes, it's a little embarrassing getting that at the store. I know, but, preparedness is preparedness. And if that's what I do and speak about, I've got to make sure I'm prepared. So I've got the wind up radio and a flashlight, like I mentioned. I've also got, and people forget this, water. I know I mentioned it, if for streams and you're pulling a bucket up out of a well or something, but I have lots and lots of water. I've got quite a few of those. And one of the things I read, I don't know if it's true because I've heard different numbers, but one that I've seen kind of consistently is 2 liters of water per person per day for sanitation reasons, drinking and cooking. So that's why it's 2 liters. And I've got a whole bunch of those containers that I just held up on a shelf, at the bottom of the closet, actually, that's there in case I need it. It's enough to last me a few weeks as well. But one of the things that sometimes people forget is you need to water for your dog or your cat, or your pets in general, right? So don't forget your pets and all your preparedness home planning kits. Whether it be their medicine, they get injured, cut their paw or something like that. You need all that stuff to take care of them. Water as well. They need water just as much as you do. And sometimes I've read and talked to people that, pets, they kind of forget about. And we've unfortunately seen it all through the news after disasters where pets have been left behind. Not on purpose all the time, of course, but there are some people who do that. We're in a disaster, the pet can survive on their own. Maybe that's true, maybe it's not. Mine I would drag with me anywhere I go. He comes with me. He's kind of my co-host, but you won't see him, unless I lift him up. But he's getting a little too old for all of that stuff, pulling him about now. But don't forget the water for all those different other things: cooking, cleaning, sanitation, drinking, and your dog needs the same stuff. So don't forget you may need doggy bags too. Unless you're going out camping in the middle of the forest, things have gone that bad and you've kind of gone, prepper mode and taken off into the forest. Well, that's going to be a different story. You won't need dog bags, but still, I suggest everyone get something like this. And I'm not saying go out and spend $200 all at once. You don't. I never did it that way. I just knew I created a list for myself of what were some of the things I needed. And I did an internet search, and talking with Diane on October 15th helped as well. And I made a list. Every time I went grocery shopping, I picked up 1 or 2 small things: a can opener, and some extra batteries, 1 pack of batteries. Well, when you do that, you build up your go bag or go bags, your containers that have all your supplies in them. So do that. I suggest having it because these days, if there is a disaster, they say it could be up to 72 hours before someone actually comes to your door to see how you're doing, if you're okay. And we're talking severe stuff, hurricanes, floods, things like that. You could be up to 72 hours without power and without connectivity to the rest of the world. So I suggest putting something like this together. And that's why I say don't do it all at once, because I know there's people who's going to say that's expensive. You can't expect people to do that. And I don't. But I do expect you to help yourself to the degree that you can for a short time frame before real help can show up and help you. In the middle of a disaster, you can't expect 5 minutes later rescuers to be at your door all of a sudden. That's just not realistic. You're not the only person in a city or a town, in a high rise, wherever you live, on a farm, a remote area. People have to try and get to you. So you've got to be able to survive on your own for a little bit. So pull this all together, take my suggestions, do some searches, listen to Diane's Vukovic's show episode on preparing for the unexpected on the Voice America Radio Network. She has some great suggestions as well. And hopefully, if something does happen, fingers crossed it never does, but it does. It's always a matter of when, not if. You will be able to respond appropriately and protect yourself and your family or whoever happens to be at your house at that time. You can make everybody safe. If you liked that video, thumbs up. If you didn't like that video, thumbs down. But leave a message and let me know what your thoughts are. If you'd like to be a guest on the show to talk about something related to business continuity, disaster management, COVID, personal well-being, anything that's relatable to those subjects, you can reach me through my LinkedIn profile, which is in the video description. And of course, don't forget to subscribe. In the meantime, stay prepared, everybody.